This is Realty Talk with Ellie and Gaelan. Welcome to episode 48 of Realty Talk. I am solo this week just because of some scheduling conflicts and everything. I'm doing this solo without Ellie. I was going to try to grab another agent, potentially newer agent, but that didn't happen, which is totally fine. Things happen. So next week we'll probably be back to our regular telecast. I don't know, regular audio, whatever we call this, with Ellie. But I still wanted to put one out. Again, I talk a lot about consistency, so I want to make sure that I'm consistent, and our goal is to put out 52 of these this year. I think right now, by doing this, we're on track, which is good, and hopefully that brings you guys some value over the next year of 2020. So the topic I wanted to go over today, and I've talked about this a lot over the last basically the last week. We've had, since the beginning of the new year, I think we have on total 3 new agents, and I have a few more that should be up and running, I would say, over the next couple months. And with that expansion and everything else, there's a lot of insight hopefully I can give these new agents that will help them. And one of the topics we had yesterday at our team training that I thought was very valuable for the newer agents is that every action that you take matters. And this is something I just want to kind of go over quick. And when I talk about every action matters, I'm going to kind of give you guys some examples of things in my career. And again, this is year 10, start of year 10 for me in real estate, and things that I've been doing consistently for 10 years and how they might have seemed insignificant at the time, but now or in the past or hopefully going forward, they turn into opportunities. So a few cool things that have happened, or I'll give you a few stories. So starting off, I tell agents to be consistent with their follow-up, their prospecting, and everything else. The reason most agents don't do well is they're not consistent. They don't take action, and they're not consistent. That's 2 things. Action and consistency will make you a very, very, very top agent in any area. We've talked about this before. I don't find that I'm the most skilled. I don't think I came with the best knowledge base or any of this. I work my ass off every day to get better every day, and I stay super consistent, and I take action every single day. That's why I've been able to accomplish things that I've been able to accomplish. So when I talk to agents about, every action matters, every little action matters, what that can translate to is my follow-up calls. I follow up with clients sometimes for years, and I've sold clients homes 5 years from when I initially talked to them to when they actually bought a home. I had an example the other day. I've been following up with this person for 2 years, leaving a message every single month for 2 years, and I've only been in contact with this person in a 2-year time frame 3 times. 3 times they responded to my call or text. Most of those calls that I make go unanswered, and most people could look at that and say, don't worry about it. Screw it. It's wasting my time. I don't need to talk to this person. Well, that's not my attitude. I always follow up with the person and trying to see where it goes. And sure enough, 2 years later, they reached out to me, or this person reached out to me, and it possibly could lead to, and I can't go into detail currently because it is not fully out there, but an opportunity that I could look back on in my career as a huge catalyst or start to something I want to grow into as a real estate professional. Again, I know that's very vague, but trust me when I say that this opportunity, not even counting the financial gain that I could get from this, and that's, like I said, I'm not a very money motivated person. I'm really looking at what this could potentially have as an impact on our area, or a start of a relationship that could end up starting one of my lifetime goal, at least for our area, to give back and build this community up as much as I can in my lifetime. So I think this could be the huge entry level of that. Now, I know that's vague. I'm sure I will talk about it at some point later this year on the podcast. But to go back in time, this never would have happened had I not followed up. The reason is because they mentioned my follow-up. They also mentioned my marketing, which brings me to my next topic of marketing and posting and making content. It might seem insignificant. I post a lot. I try to post a lot. I wish I could post 10 times what I normally post. It's something I'm working on, is how do we increase the content that we put out. I believe that my content, and again, this happens a lot in my business. I don't compare against other people. Yes, I know my content right now blows most people out of the water in regards to the amount, regarding the quality and everything else. But my competition, I know this sounds cliche, is myself. If I know that there's inefficiencies, or I know that I'm not working as efficient or at my max capacity, there's room for improvement. So I look at what I'm doing. So I look at my 2020 Gaelan, where I want 2021 Gaelan to be, or 2022 or 2030 or 2050 Gaelan to be. So I'm very, I don't have a big ego. I'm very humble in the sense that I can knock my own self down a peg and realize you have some stuff broken in your business or in your company or whatever. And I have the wherewithal to recognize that. And I also I'm not a super prideful person where I can't take my own critique. So again, I'm my own hardest critic. So there's some things that I need to be better at, which is content creation. And that will be another rant for probably next week or the week after. But when it talks to posting, every post you make, like, I might seem insignificant. That little meme or that picture or that video or that thought might not make a big difference today, but it's the compound effect. Doing this over and over and over and over again, being top of mind in someone's mind, bringing value to people. What happens is, and I use the car analogy, I have no intention of looking for a car for another year and a half. I get flyers in the mail. I get emails. They get deleted. They get thrown out. It's not top of mind for me. It's not something that is a big part of my life that I need to be concerned with right now. But in a year from now, I will start paying attention to those same flyers that were hitting me in the face for the year prior that I was throwing out. Mean nothing, will mean something in a year. Real estate's the same thing. It's a process. People don't just click on real estate and typically buy right off. A lot of them are testing the waters for later in the year or the following year. So just because you're following up with them and right now and they're not responding does not mean that they won't do something in a year. It's just you're not top of mind. But by you planting the seed, in a year from now when they are ready, guess who they're going to contact? The only person that's stayed consistent and followed up with them for months and months and months. We had an agent here, and they were following up, and they sent 2 emails, and then I looked at their database, and it was kind of empty, and they had the person scheduled to be deleted from our database, and I asked them, I said, what's going on here? Well, they didn't respond to my emails. I said, how many did you send? Well, I sent 2 over 2 months, or 3 over 2 months, and they didn't respond. And I said, well, and I gave them that exact analogy about they're not ready to buy yet, but stay consistent. And basically, you're already saying they're no good without them telling you that they're no good. So don't write someone off before they write themselves off, meaning they tell you they don't want to buy from you or they have no intention of buying. Then you can say, okay, I will not pursue this anymore. But don't say no before they do. So the consistent action of that, again, is a lot of those little actions lead to future business. Now, there's a bunch more. Those are just a couple recent ones that happened. There's a bunch more that off the top of my head could totally, I could probably, if I really thought about it, could come up with ideas, because this happens to me all the time and more frequently, because now my past work is starting to my past efforts are starting to show in my current work. The other thing though is people, and every action that you take, again, when things don't seem significant at the time, do matter. And I'm going to use my favorite analogy I think has had the biggest impact in my life. I've talked about him before on the show. One of my best friends now, business mentors, jammer on marketing. Aaron Benner is a huge. I'm just very lucky that he is in my life for many reasons. And I use the example of, I met Aaron at a career fair at a local school. Now, this is how this has played out. I went to this career fair for kids, and kids are not going to buy a home from me. But I went to the career fair as a way to give back and help out, and I knew the people at the school that were running it, and it was more of a to give back and give them, someone, to help them out, basically. They wanted someone from real estate. They asked me, which I felt honored. They could have asked a lot of other people, and they asked me. So I wanted to, take them up on their offer. And so I show up at this career fair, and there's a bunch of different business people. So yes, there is I can network with other agents, or not agents, but other business people in between the kids, the classes coming through. And one of those people is Aaron Benner. I knew a little bit of him. I didn't really know him. I'd never spoken to him in my life. And randomly walked up to him and had a conversation and asked, can we meet? And that was May of 2017. I look at our business, I look at my business career from 2017 to the start of 2020, and it is night and day. I've had more growth in the last 2.5 years than I've ever had in my business and a lot of other things in my life. And a big reason is I attribute a lot of it to Aaron. That never would have happened had I not gone to this career fair and talked to him, because we've talked about it, and you could say, you could have ran into him the next week or the week after. There was a lot of things time-wise that I think were closing in on him that I don't think I would have got the opportunity had I even waited a few more weeks or a month. And he said that very adamantly, that he agrees the same. So timing matters, and actions matter. And from Aaron, I met Hannah, and Hannah works at our office. And Hannah happened to be blueberry picking at Rolf's Orchard and Aaron, with a friend. And Aaron was doing time-wise, just synced up. Aaron was doing a video shoot for Rolf's Orchard and happened to meet Hannah and her friend and asked if they would be willing to be in the video. And then Aaron, of course, the way he is, everybody knows he is a quiet person. And so he obviously struck up a conversation with the girls and asked them what they're planning on doing after college. Or after planning what they're doing, they said they go to college. What are you planning to do after college? And Hannah said, I want to get into real estate. So Aaron said, contact Gaelan. And funny thing is, prior to that, Hannah had no clue who I was. Hannah had tried, I think, 1 or 2 other local real estate offices to try to get in with them, and then they both kind of ghosted her. And she happened to run into Aaron, and sure enough, by the next day, Hannah had reached out to us, and we had scheduled a meeting within the week, and now she is licensed here. And that all happened a little over a year ago, and something like that, timing matters. Running into people matters, but being in position. I met Aaron, now I met Hannah, and from Hannah, I've met other people, and I've had other opportunities, and I've helped Hannah out, and Hannah's helped me out. None of this would have happened had I not gone to a Saranac Career Fair day. And so again, little things that seem insignificant do matter. Same thing yesterday, we were at a team meeting, and I looked at the 4 people that were sitting at the table, all newer people within the organization. They all reached out to work with me. And obviously, I had done something in the past that made them want to work with me. And then when you start hearing all their stories, you're like, oh my God, that's how you wanted to work here. And it's so funny because I look at that as maybe an insignificant moment, but it turns into such a huge moment. It could be the person that you meet. It could be someone randomly that you talk to in a waiting room. It could be someone that you meet at a networking event. And all these things, every conversation to me matters. Every text, every smile, every taking the high road matters. I've had clients that I've been working with, didn't use me. I didn't get mad. Again, took the high road. They came back to use me the second time around because they liked the way I handled the first time. And that's just something, again, little things matter in life. I think every interaction you have, every conversation, every, again, just smile, every handshake, every, good deed that you do leaves an impact on a person and builds relationships and builds trust, and eventually things open up. And I've had some really cool opportunities. I was also in the running for another big project locally that I did not get, but I take it as a win because at the time I was 28 years old and I was at the table in the conversation, which I thought was incredible, because if you would have asked me 8 years prior, if you would ask me 3 years prior, that never would have been an option, or even 2 years prior. But again, by doing the right stuff and doing the right things, I was given the opportunity to even be in the conversation for that project. And who knows, I'm not giving up on it. That could be something I end up doing in a year or two from now if their first choice doesn't work out. So you always, like, to me, all these little things, I'm always playing the long game. I'm not very nearsighted or short term. I'm playing the long game. I plan on being involved in real estate and business and everything. I just hit 30. I mean, I'm modern medicine. I expect easily to live past 100, and I am hoping I'm balling out to 100 in regards to just pure love of business and real estate and playing the whole game of business. And I just find it's fascinating, and all these little steps. I'm not playing for 21, 22, 23, 2021, 22. Like, things are going to work 2040, 2060, 2080. I mean, these things are realistic time frames when I will be able to take the snowball effect of the little things I'm doing now and seeing them play out. So I know very, like I said, kind of my thoughts of the day on that. It really got me thinking recently, and just how every action matters. So if you guys are not taking action, if you guys aren't creating content, if you guys aren't going to networking events, if you guys aren't meeting people and putting yourself out there and putting your work out there and following something that you're passionate about, all these little actions will play out the way they're supposed to. I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer that don't say what if, make a decision, go down that path, and just live with it. That's the decision you made. Don't dwell and say, what if I would have made the other decision or the other choice? You could do that your whole life. My life could be completely different now if I took a million different scenarios, or if I didn't have, maybe stumbling blocks or roadblocks or speed bumps along the way. But it's made me a person in 2020 that I literally right now think I'm in the best position of my life by far. I've had good moments in the past for sure, but I think all around as a person in my life, in my family, in my business, I am more satisfied now than I ever have. And I know that this is not even going to be even close to comparison to what it is going to be in 10, 15, 30, 50 years. So I'm super excited, but I'm going to continue to take these actions every day, small actions, actions. I'm not going to sit there and overthink and not do. I'm going to be doing every single day, day in and day out, because I know all these little actions play out in the end. And a lot of small actions lead to big results. So that's my thoughts of the day. Next week, if anybody has any questions on this, definitely feel free to reach out to me on every social platform at Gaelan Trombley. Would love to speak to you about it. If you have questions, or if you guys are stuck or in a rut, or think that there's something that you need to get out, I would love to help you out, and hopefully maybe be a catalyst for you to take more action in your lives. And like I said, action leads to results, and action breeds, or activity breeds activity. That's something my dad's always taught me, and I truly believe that. So take action. Next week, we should be back with Miss Ellie, and hopefully maybe some other people that we can get on this. But I hope you guys enjoyed episode 48 of Realty Talk with just me, Gaelan. Oh, office quote of the day. I'm going to butcher this. So Ellie, if you listen to this, don't critique me. We all know how poor my skills are. Let me see. I'm going to try to give one from yesterday. I don't know the lines. It's not going to be verbatim. Totally fine. It's just it was the dinner party, and I think if anybody's ever, we're totally late. Once it hit season like 7 or so, once like Saber came into the picture and Michael left, and everybody knows this was kind of like the sad time of The Office. It gets better, but there's a little dip, a little lull in the series. But one of the highlights, I think, that's an all-time great episode is the dinner party, when Andrew Bernard throws a dinner party at Schrute Farms, and I watched that last night. And it was kind of in the background. I was doing some work. And, of course, one of my favorite parts of it is when Jim gets Dwight to buy a book about basically how to run the ultimate garden party. And the name was James Trickington. So I just thought it was funny. Not really a quote, just thought it was funny. Jim Halpert, also known as James Halpert, and then Trickington, which was good. And then at the very end, when he kept walking by and he kept going, James Halpert. That, I don't know. Again, I'm bad. Ellie's way better at that than me. But I had to do it. Okay, episode 48, Realty Talk. See you next week.